Hi, I'm Alison Gillespie. I'm a physical therapist with Prevail PT, and I specialize in treating runners and other endurance athletes. I grew up in the area. I ran locally for one of the high schools, and I have relied on Super Jock and Jill all the way from being a teenage runner through my collegiate career and then now as an adult. Today, I'm going to explain the basic parts of a running shoe. There are four major components to a shoe. The first is the outsole. This can have varying thickness, but usually the outsole is designed for both traction, a degree of durability, and with some shoes, lightweight. The next component of a shoe is the upper. Shoes are definitely moving toward a more seamless upper, which tends to give a lot more flex and room in the toe box for comfort. Generally, the upper needs to hold your foot securely, but also be breathable. The next component of a shoe, and perhaps the most important, is the midsole. So the midsole is this section of foam that you see between the upper and the outsole. And there are different types of cushioning or foams available, and they have different degrees of density or firmness. You'll often see midsoles described with a heel to toe drop, and that is simply the measurement between the heel here in the shoe and the front. Most running shoes vary between 8 and 12 millimeters of heel to toe drop. There are some shoes that are a little higher in the heel, and then some shoes which are zero drop. And then the last component of the basic component of a running shoe is the heel counter, which is the back of the shoe, and it's designed to hold your foot firmly in place. Our first type of shoe we're going to talk about is a neutral lightweight shoe. This is the Brooks Launch, and the main characteristic of this shoe is that when we say neutral, it generally means that the midsole is a single density midsole. These shoes tend to be lightweight. This shoe has a little firmer midsole. It's designed for faster running. They tend to be more flexible as well. So you can consider this kind of shoe to be sort of your very basic, very straight ahead, very simple shoe that works well for a large variety of runners. The heel toe drop is something that you'll see described with the shoe. And I think this one has an 8 millimeter heel to toe drop. So it's a little bit lower than your average training shoe. The next type of neutral shoe, this is the Brooks Ghost. And it has a slightly higher heel to toe drop. So it has a little more foam under the heel compared to the forefoot, and slightly thicker, a little heavier overall. But this shoe is really designed, has a little more rubber on the outsole. And this is the type of shoe that is designed for a lot of daily mileage. It tends to be a little more durable, or for some people, they prefer a shoe like this for a longer run, if their feet are going to fatigue, or if they just need to feel like they have something more underfoot. Most neutral shoes still retain that good flexibility so that they don't really interfere with the action of your foot. The third shoe that we have is the Brooks Adrenaline. And this is what's known as a stability shoe. And this is almost the exact same shoe as the Ghost, their neutral shoe, except that it has the addition of these little stability rails up here on the shoe. Brooks is a little different than most other shoe companies with the additions of these rails, but this shoe also has a little more heft to it, a little more protective, and ever so slightly stiffer through the shoe. Often runners will pick this shoe if they have some stability needs, or if they tend to fatigue, or if their form tends to fall apart with longer runs. But otherwise than that, this shoe is very similar to a neutral shoe. The fourth type of shoe that we have here is known as a motion control shoe. This is the Brooks Addiction, which is a very popular model and has been for a long time. This shoe, it's definitely a little more heft to it. If you look at the outsole, it's a little bit of a straighter design to it. And also this shoe, this has a second density of midsole. So this foam right here is a lot denser and heavier than the rest of the foam in the shoe. This shoe also, if I try to bend it, it offers a lot of resistance. This is often a shoe that people will use that if they have custom orthotics where they really need a very firm base of support. I've also seen people use this shoe after some kinds of foot surgeries, or if they just need a little more room in the toe box. The Addiction has long been a popular shoe for walkers as well. One of the most common questions we get is, what is the perfect running shoe for me? This is where we really specialize. We perform gait analysis, we can look at running shoe characteristics, and along with the staff at Super Jock and Jill, we can really help you find your perfect match.